Have you ever experienced disappointment when your phone is discharged before the most important call in your life, or you are late for the bus, watching how it is safely removed? Disappointment is not just a boring guest in the house. It's like a cousin who is late for a visit, eats all your snacks and decides to move in with you. We have all experienced it, getting entangled in this unpleasant mess. But you shouldn't just stick a patch on it. Let's get rid of this trouble once and for all. Today, we will look at 7 unwavering Stoic practices to not only cope with disappointment, but also get rid of it forever. If you are new here, I have a small challenge for you. Click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to improve your mental game and become a rock in this chaotic ocean. And now let's get started. Focus on your circle of control. Let's delve into the concept of focusing on your circle of control, a fundamental Stoic principle that can radically change your attitude to life problems. Imagine a typical scenario. You are stuck in a traffic jam. Your phone battery is discharged before the final call, and dark clouds threaten to destroy your plans for a picnic. At this point, you may feel completely upset, but let's deal with it. Stoics would remind us that we have limited control over external events such as traffic jams, weather, or even technology in our lives. However, you have enormous power over your inner sphere, over your reactions, emotions, and thoughts. We are not talking about magical solutions to life problems. This is a mental shift, a change in perspective. Let's take a look at the case when you are late for the bus. This is a situation that you cannot control. You can allow yourself to be disappointed by taking a step up, clenching your fists and getting out of yourself. Or you can take advantage of the opportunity and use the extra minutes wisely. You can take a deep breath and do a short meditation. Listen to a podcast that you have long wanted to listen to, or just enjoy the beauty of the sky. Life is not an endless list of tasks. It is a series of moments, some of which are carefully planned and others are unexpected. The quality of your experience depends on how you feel about these moments. The next time you find yourself in a whirlpool of irritation because something went wrong, pause and ask an important question. Is it under my control? If the answer is negative, take a deep breath and let go of the disappointment. If yes, act decisively. Accepting this static principle can be truly liberating. This is similar to putting things in order on your smartphone by deleting unused applications. Only in this case do you free up mental space and emotional energy, giving up control over uncontrollable factors. The burden of trying to control the uncontrollable disappears, allowing you to enrich your life with what is really important. Now imagine a world in which everyone adheres to this principle. Imagine a world in which the number of anger on the roads, hysteria in line in a grocery store, and keyboard warriors who lose self-control because of one comment. It is not easy to strive for such a world. This is a world in which the quality of our collective existence will improve significantly. So let's take the first step, focusing on your circle of control and freeing yourself from unnecessary disappointment. You need to consciously choose the battles in which you need to fight and give up those that only exhaust our energy, reducing the scale for the future. Let's go on a journey through deep static practice, reducing the scale for a broader perspective, a practice that can significantly affect how we perceive and solve life problems. Imagine for a moment that you have encountered a number of seemingly insurmountable problems. The battery of your phone is discharged right before the fateful call, and you watch as the bus you are going to get on leaves into a cloud of exhaust gases and indifference. Disappointment at such moments can be simply stunning. But let's look at this scenario and see how the racks could direct us. In the grandiose goblin of life, our personal world often seems all-consuming. We are constantly bombarded with messages in which our value is equated to the productivity, efficiency and ability to manage every aspect of our life. The result is an exhausting desire to achieve more, to be more and to do more. This is a tireless control list that seems to never end, but the racks, with their wisdom, urge us to pause and increase the scale, to see the prospect beyond the limits of this minute and intense problems. Think about it like a camera in a movie that often increases the scale to provide a view from the height of a bird's flight, showing us a general picture of everything happening below. When the scale is reduced, your problems seem smaller and more manageable. It is all the same as realizing that the mountain on which you climb with such difficulty is actually just a modest hill. Such a shift in perspective is not a humiliation of your problems, but an understanding of their relative importance in a broader context of life. Why does this practice work? Because it helps simplify and clarify your understanding of life. When you focus exclusively on the micro level of your everyday problems, they usually seem more large-scale and insurmountable than they really are. On the contrary, a reduction in scale allows you to see the picture as a whole and realize the true scale of problems. Moreover, this practice increases your gratitude for what you have. When you are healthy, you have a roof over your head, and you are surrounded by people who care about you. These simple benefits become much more valuable. They shine brightly against the background of a world in which even giant metropolises seem to be dots on a globe if you look at them from space. Therefore, the next time life makes a mess in your plans, think about increasing the scale for a moment. Perhaps you will find that the obstacle you encountered was not as impressive as it seemed at first. This new perspective can relieve you of the feeling of paralysis caused by problems, and you'll be able to plunge your head into their solutions, realizing that they are largely manageable and overcoming. Use your strength now. The static principle of using strength now offers us to plunge into the art of life in the present moment. In our modern world, where we constantly run, trying to overtake time, striving for success, and pursuing numerous goals, the practice of presence often slips away from us. Notifications flood our devices, newsstands fight for our attention, and concerns about tomorrow often obscure the joys of today. But the stands offer a valuable reminder. Imagine the following. You have fallen into a tireless whirlwind of life requirements, from work and family duties to social obligations and personal goals. The constant buzz of incoming messages and non-stop distracting factors of the digital age keep you in constant tension. In this chaotic landscape, disappointment can let you know about yourself when you are trying to find a sense of peace and satisfaction. The static approach is simple and at the same time transformative. In order to truly appreciate the power of the present moment, you need to distance yourself from the external noise that surrounds you. Turn off non-urgent notifications, allocate time not to do anything, and plunge into the present moment. It is not just about existence, but about a full and conscious life. Think about it. When you eat, do not just swallow food, but enjoy its taste and texture. When you listen, do not just listen to sounds, but really get involved in music or conversation. When you touch something, feel its texture and temperature. In essence, presence implies experiencing life in all its depth, and not just passing through the surface. In this way, you minimize space and time to root out disappointment. Instead of constantly thinking about past regrets or future anxieties, your attention narrows to the present moment. Such simplification of perspective brings clarity and a sense of peace. Disappointment often arises due to the tension of the rope between the past and the future, and none of the options brings complete satisfaction. The present, on the other hand, provides the foundation on which you can build a full life. This is a means of frustration because it redirects your attention to what can be done right now. You regain control over your mental landscape, simplifying your understanding of the world and allowing yourself to move around it with grace, to embody the power of the present moment in your everyday. Life does not mean to give up planning or neglect the lessons learned from the past. We are talking about not allowing the past or future to seize your present. The idea is to live consciously, appreciating every moment when it unfolds. By focusing on the present, you will find that many of your disappointments simply dissolve in the air, unable to consolidate in consciousness, firmly rooted in the here and now. Let us go on a journey of self-knowledge, studying the deep historical practice of audit and management of our desires. This practice can have a deep impact on how we perceive the world and, in turn, on how we deal with disappointment. Desire in various forms often acts as a close companion to disappointment. A desire for something, material or non-material, can create a fertile ground for the blossoming of disappointment. Steadfast, subtle observers of human nature have divided desires into two different categories: natural and tangible. Natural desires are those that are associated with vital things, such as food, blood, and well-being. By fulfilling these desires, they contribute to common health and satisfaction. On the other hand, tangible desires include excessive or extravagant desires, such as excessive wealth, fame, or material values, which often lead to dissatisfaction and disappointment. Although desire is natural, be careful with tangible desires. Steadfast people do not refuse all desires. This would be impractical and, perhaps, detrimental. Instead, they urge us to carefully study our desires and weigh them on the scales of their true importance. To apply this in practice, think about the desires that arise in you and, before allowing disappointment to take over when the desire is not realized, pause and assess whether the fulfillment of this desire really contributes to your well-being and personal growth. Ask yourself whether it corresponds to your true values and goals. By conducting such an internal audit, you can find that some of your desires are more likely to be dictated by social approval or a temptation for short-term satisfaction than by long-term personal growth or true well-being. Recognizing these tangible desires will allow you to reconsider your goals and aspirations, tidying up your life path. Imagine that the goals and aspirations of your life are a ship sailing on a stormy sea of existence. By dropping the balance of tangible desires, your ship will become more maneuverable and better adapted to overcome life's storms. With a clearer sense of direction and purpose, your tasks become less cumbersome, which reduces opportunities for disappointment. Therefore, take the time to review your desires. Look deep into your inner self and ask whether these desires serve a higher purpose or simply feed an insatiable appetite for more. After you have purified your desires, you will find that your life has become more purposeful and satisfying, that you are guided by your true values, not by the constantly changing winds of numerous desires. Practice negative visualization. Let's plunge into the intriguing world of negative visualization. Static practice, which at first may seem unintuitive, but is able to strengthen your emotional stability and deepen your understanding of good things in life. Consider the following scenario. One morning, you wake up with a cup of coffee and for a few moments, imagine that your day is going wrong. The coffee will spill, the computer will break down, you will be late for the train, and the schedule of the day will fall apart before you even start. It may seem that this practice invites unnecessary negativity into your life, but let's look into its deep wisdom. Negative visualization is a lack of focus on pessimism and the lack of expectation of the worst at every step. We are talking about mentally preparing yourself for possible failures that may actually occur on your path. By recognizing these possible problems, you not only reduce the shock and disappointment that they can bring, but also get a unique opportunity to look at the value of what you already have. The Stoics recognized that life's trials are an inevitable part of existence. By performing this mental exercise, you prepare your mind to face adversity with grace and resilience. When life inevitably throws you a crooked ball, you easily adapt to it as if you have already gone through this experience in your imagination. Moreover, negative visualization strengthens your gratitude for everything going well. When you consciously recognize the possibility of failure, you begin to value small victories in life more. For example, spilled coffee is no longer a source of disappointment, but reminds you of countless days when it did not spill. A reliable computer is not perceived as something obvious, but is celebrated for countless cases when it did not break. Being late for the train can be an opportunity to show patience and adaptability, and not a reason for anger. Such practice will help you live with greater readiness and gratitude. It is not about expecting the worst, but about being ready for it and taking valuable lessons that it can bring. When you catch life's blows with grace, you become an experienced player in this game, and not a beginner who panics at the first signs of trouble. Amor fati. Love your fate. Now let's go to the kingdom of amor fati, a powerful Stoic principle that encourages us not only to accept our fate, but also to embrace it, even when life takes unexpected turns. This practice can radically change our attitude to failures and problems, which will ultimately lead to greater positivity and resilience. Imagine for a moment that you're well thought out. Plans have gone down an unexpected path. You have encountered a serious failure, possibly a loss of work or a break in relations, and the immediate reaction may be disappointment, frustration, or anger. However, Stoics offer a different point of view. Amor fati means to love your fate. This is more than just accepting what is happening to you. This is an active acceptance of what is happening, regardless of whether it coincides with your original plans. This is a practice of perceiving a turn in life as an opportunity for growth and change. When you have failures, instead of showing compassion for yourself, consider it a way for the universe to redirect you to something better, even if you do not see it at the moment. This practice is to turn what others may perceive bad into a new shade of good. This does not mean that you should not experience such emotions as sadness or disappointment. This is a natural reaction of a person to difficult situations, but a Stoic approach is to feel them, recognize them, and then ask yourself, how can this experience enrich my life? By adopting such a change of thinking, you free yourself from time of resentment and accusations. When you stop perceiving failure not as an uninvited guest, but as a catalyst for personal development, your perspective changes. Difficulties become steps on your path, not road obstacles. Such an approach frees you from exhausting thinking when you focus on the question, why me? Instead, your attitude to silence becomes, try me. You become a resilient person who lives his life with optimism and adaptability, not waiting for a storm to pass, but learning to dance in the rain. Life is full of ambiguities, irritations, and disappointments. But when you practice amor fati, these problems will suddenly seem insignificant to you in the grand scheme of the impermanence of life. Instead of wasting precious minutes suffering from a rude remark or small failure, you focus on the overall picture, realizing the coming nature of life. But this practice has another side. Recognizing the impermanence of life, you add a sense of urgency to your practice. Recognizing the impermanence of life, you add a sense of urgency to your actions. This encourages you to act, change, grow, and solve problems not tomorrow, but today. Your days become more meaningful, actions more thoughtful, and time more valuable. Amor fati is an absolute test of reality that makes you stay in the present and live a full life. When you fully accept your fate, you not only reduce disappointment, but also enrich your existence. Your path turns into a goblin, each of which contributes to the personal growth, wisdom, and ability to find joy in the unpredictable turns of life. Memento mori. Remember your mortality. In the final study of historical practices, we come across the deep concept of memento mori, which translates as remember your mortality. This powerful practice serves as a severe test of reality, encouraging us to face the coming nature of life, and thus making us focus on what is really important. Imagine for a moment that you have come across an indisputable truth. Your time on this earth is limited, and none of us knows when this time will end. This is a sobering thought, but it is exactly the thinking that the pillars call us to accept. Memento mori, the painless focus on death, and not a call to focus on our mortality until despair. On the contrary, it is a reminder that life is precious and every moment is a gift. The practice of memento mori is a way to bring into our actions a breath of restlessness and to encourage us to live in the present, in our tireless pursuit of worldly goals and in the midst of daily disappointments. It is too easy to forget about the impermanence of life. We often get lost in the noise of our own desires, anxieties, and small grievances. But when we remember our mortality, these trifling worries begin to fade compared to the grand scale of existence. This practice offers us to cut off the trifles of life in order to understand what is really important and what is just the noise in our life. Disappointment often arises due to our attachment to things that, in the grand scheme of existence, are insignificant, not an external situation, and our perception of it causes stress and disappointment. When we realize the fragility of our existence, it becomes easier for us to separate what is really important from the cacophony of life's distracting factors. In addition, the awareness of our mortality gives your actions a sense of independence. This encourages you to live a full life and to cherish your time as a precious resource. When you accept the perspective of a limited time of being on this earth, your days become more meaningful, your actions more thoughtful, and your time more valuable. This practice is the main reminder that our journey is over. It is a ticking clock that ergos use to act, change, grow and solve problems not tomorrow, but today. Disappointment becomes much less time. If you consider it in the context of the general impermanence of your life, implementing these Stoic practices in your life will help you cope with disappointment and drive it out the door. If these thoughts are close to you, do not leave them with you. Join this community by subscribing to it, ringing the notification bell, and leaving a comment below to tell us about what practice has found a response for you, or what you have discovered on this path.